Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. In this episode, I want to talk about something paramount to every company, which is customers. And I'm going to talk about it in a little bit of a different way. The title of this video will be something along the lines of beginning with the end in mind. And what I want to talk about here is something that I've noticed with a lot of companies, and also I make these videos just as much for myself to solidify the information that I'm learning through the programs and the trainings and the things I'm going through so that I can make sure that I'm retaining it. So it's relevant for where I'm at right now and what I'm learning, and it's also relevant for you guys starting out, something to keep in mind if you want to be successful and not have to have false starts. So number one is, I have my notes over here that I'm going to reference. I've been at so many companies, and there are a ton of companies that start with the product first. They think about the product. They think about how they're going to talk about the product and what the product's going to do and all the magic things that it has, and product. And it's like their landing pages, their sales pages, it's all about the product and how the product's so great. And it's just so focused on the product. And I talk a lot about intentionality, and I think this is a continuum of that, where we're kind of flipping the script. And instead, like, when you build your company, yes, it makes sense to have an idea of what you want to do and the problem that you're going to solve and the product you're going to create, how you're going to package it. But you really want to start with your dream customer. And let me tell you guys a story about this. So years ago, I started a company with two other guys in the employee engagement space. And I was really passionate about employee engagement. And I really wanted to solve this problem at the time. There's a bunch of data on Gartner and like all these other places, all these other like professional sources saying like people were burned out. Engagement was like at 30% across the United States. People were like so unhappy with their jobs. And this is before 2020. And, you know, people are just like struggling. And so I'm like so obsessed with solving this problem, right? Creating a world where people are happy to go to work, where they don't hate their life, where they're not just looking forward to Friday and, you know, Friday afternoon and getting bombed on the weekend just to like numb the pain of dealing with some crappy job that they're working at. And that, to me, it meant happier moms, happier dads, happier sons, brothers, sisters, friends, whatever. It just meant happier people going to work, doing something that was fulfilling. And so I was like so obsessed with solving this thing. The problem was I wasn't obsessed with our customer. And our customer turned out to be a lot of folks that are in the HR space, the talent acquisition space, culture leaders, and it's just so hard to sell into that space. I have friends and family that are in the HR space, and I'm not going to dull this video down to be a Mr. Nice Guy, but like I love those people dearly, and someone needs to do that job. Thank God somebody's called to deal with human resources related issues, and thank God for some of the things they do. However, as a whole, generally speaking, they're a little bit slower to react to things, right? They're usually the last ones that are let go from an organization. They usually have inside information onto who, you know, what are the inner workings of the company, are positive and negative. And HR is just like, it wasn't my dream customer to sell into. You know, for me personally, going through my entrepreneurship thing, like, I faced a lot of rejection up to this point, and someday I would like to share my story with you guys when I have more success. And I've built there's a larger trust. There's a reason for you to listen to my story, right? I don't feel like that rapport is there yet for me to share that with you until I have some level of success to point back to where my story is interesting. But why the reason I bring that up is because HR for me at that point in 2016 had been a lot of rejection, right? Going to these interviews, meeting with TA, talent acquisition people, meeting with decision makers within HR, and it's like constantly being rejected, and it's like employee engagement's at an all-time low. And I felt like here these people are rejecting me, and they're like, I was having a hard time in the W-2 workforce working for other people in New York City and whatever. And now I want to solve this problem, and they're the magic. They hold the keys to the door that I need to unlock. And so it was a huge challenge for me personally. And so I wish that I had thought about this framework beforehand. So instead of beginning with the product, the features, the pieces, the things, we're thinking about the customer first, right? And I know that sounds generic, but like, let's go a level deeper. So you start to think about who they are, like literally who they are. And I don't want to steal any of this. I got this particular information and this thought process from Russell Brunson and a couple other people. Like Myron has talked about a couple of these things, but recently Russell Brunson has really inspired a lot of this thought process for me. as I'm building this company that I'm working on now, I'm thinking a lot about who our customer is, right? So for me, I have a stealth mode company that I'm building with a friend, and my customer base is someone that's really obsessed with their health. They're obsessed with self-improvement. They're maybe it's a founder or co-founder at a company. They're an entrepreneur. Maybe they own a small business. Maybe it's I have a lot of these in my life. I'm so fortunate, but like a female executive that has like C-level job and she's doing maybe sales and marketing, and she's like got 3 kids and she's just a badass. I mean, she goes to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and she's got 3 kids that she's dealing with, and she's closing like 7-figure deals every day, and like does it all, right? And like that's my dream customer. I don't want to tell you too much about the project that I'm working on. I don't want to give it away, but like they're not going to haggle on price. They're really into their health. They're really into high performance stuff. They don't have a lot of time to spend on doing certain things. They want the highest quality. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about what it looks like, what other people are going to think, whatever. They just want the highest performing thing all the time, and as conveniently as possible to fit into their schedule. And so I literally went through in Figma, and I have a board where I literally named it. It's like, I have Julie and I have Henry, and like these are their characteristics, right? So like, for Henry, I put like he's an entrepreneur. He goes to the gym this many days a week. I literally started building out what Henry looks like, and then I went on Google, found a picture that in my head looks like Henry, someone I didn't know because I didn't want to have a bias. So when I saw people I knew that represented the same qualities as Henry, I disregarded them and I found like a generic stock photo that reminds me of the characteristics of this person. So who are they? Then the next level is, where do they live on the internet, right? So for me, I told you a little bit about who my avatar is, or my customer archetype, or my dream customer archetype, right? This is your dream customer. We're beginning with the dream customer in mind. I should clarify that, not just any customer, right? The point of the story is Russell Brunson tells his story, and it's like he ends up with this business that's doing really well, but he despises the customer he works with. And I wouldn't say that was necessarily me with HR, but it's like he woke up one day and he wished that he could fire himself, or someone would fire him, because he couldn't stand working with them. And so we're doing 2 things. We're trying to set ourselves up for success by focusing on an end state in the beginning, speaking towards that person, creating copy, creating graphics, creating sales pages, landing pages, websites, ads. Everything we do is going to be with those customer archetypes in mind, right? So that we're setting ourselves up for success there. And we're also being pragmatic with ourselves and being like, hey, you're going to serve this customer, right? I think Myron Golden has a saying, which is, thinking is the hard work that most people never do. Thinking is the hard work that most people never do. And I think that's accurate. We all do it. And it's like a lot of people will build a company. They know it's going to make money, whatever. They're going to do this thing. And then they end up getting successful, but they hate their success because they hate who they deal with. So let's avoid that, and let's tailor our message to who we want to work with. So dream customer. The part that before I digressed, was where. So where do they live on the internet? For my particular customer archetype, they're professionals. They might be on GitHub. They might be on Hacker News, right? Or they might be on LinkedIn. They're professionals, right? Some of them might be on Instagram or Twitter, X, whatever. So those are some of the places my people will be. You have to think, where is your dream customer going to be? And then the next couple pieces that I want to touch on is, I'm going to kind of reverse order the way that I have my notes here, but what is the payoff that your product is going to provide them? Like, you and me, my audience, the people that I want to talk to on YouTube are people getting started, right? I want to help you guys get started, because there's a lot of Alex Hormozis that are like, I have a $100 million portfolio company and blah, blah, blah. Like, you guys aren't there, and there needs to be a piece in the middle, right? And that's what I'm trying to be the conduit of like, how do you get to your first 100,000 and your first million? It's really important to have in mind, like, they're not, your customers, your dream customers, are not coming to you because of you. They're not coming to you for your pieces. They're not coming to you for the process that you're going to have. They're coming to you because they want a transformation. What is the payoff that your product is going to give them? That's what they're there for. So when you're thinking about whatever it is that you're selling or you're working on, that is first and foremost. What is the payoff that they're going to get? Not how many consultations do they get with you, or how many pieces are in your kit, or how many hours of access do they get to you. You and I don't have clout yet. We're not famous. We don't have a book. We don't have whatever. So like, focus on the payoff. With that being said, when you're building sales copy, when you're building these pages out, hopefully for you guys, when you're having these calls or you're meeting face to face, it's serving over selling, right? Like, I really want to drill that in because everybody's skeeved out by salespeople. And I think in some ways there's a good reason, right? Like this week I'm trying to like get a used car, and it's like I get like grossed out by going through that process, right? And so the difference between selling and serving is you have to, if your product is not a good fit for them, if you get on a call and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about your product and whatever, and like the way they want to use it or the way they're thinking about using it, they're not going to get the payoff that you intended it to have, or they're not going to get any kind of payoff the way that you've designed and developed the product. They're just not going to get the solution they're looking for with your tool or your thing. They got to go. You have to wait, be okay losing that deal and say, hey, this isn't a good fit for you. I have this other person, or I know somebody else or whatever. If you genuinely try to help them and you have that trust, it's going to come back tenfold. I know it's hard to measure, but like, you're serving over selling. What's another piece of that? You would never, if you're doing free things, and you have a funnel or you have like a newsletter, or you're doing an ebook, right? Don't give away garbage. Like this is not spring cleaning. Like, people don't want your trash. They don't want garbage. If you're going to make an ebook or you're going to do a free seminar or whatever it is that you're offering away for free, it better be something that you could charge for. You want to give free things away that you could charge for. The people that are most successful in winning over leads are people that don't have to go spend money on advertising. How do you not spend money on advertising? You create value before they even pay you for it, right? So like me creating these YouTube videos to help other people that are entrepreneurs, well, maybe one day if I launch a coaching program, I've hopefully added enough value to you guys where you're like, oh, this makes sense. Like, I would go to Perry because he helped me get from point A to point B, and maybe he can help me with this next thing, right? So the goal is whatever you're giving away, you make sure it's valuable. Make sure that it's adding value to them, and that it's not just free fluff trash. Because I'll tell you right now, if you give away a free ebook or you do a free consultation or whatever, bad news travels faster than good news. And their network will know that what you have is trash very quickly if you're going to be giving away things that you wouldn't be able to charge money for. Myron, other people that I hear say things are like, you want to be able to give a 10x on whatever it is that you're selling. And so if you're giving stuff away for free, make sure it has value. If you're charging money for something, right? Like, I should probably do another video on this, but you want to be able to charge 10x of what it is, whatever the result is. So whatever the payoff is that they get, if I'm selling a book, right? I'm selling a book to entrepreneurs starting out. I want to be able to make sure that person, if they're reading my book and they're practicing the things I'm preaching in my book, they need to get a 10x reward out of it. So for me, I want to help people get to their first 100,000. And if I'm very confident that the advice I'm going to give in my book is going to do that, maybe I sell my book for $100. They're guaranteed to make at least 1,000 if they pay attention to the stuff that's in there, right? So that's just one sample, but don't give away garbage for free. Give away quality things. When you do charge, make sure that whatever you're charging for it's not a one-to-one exchange, right? You wouldn't exchange $1 or $10 back and forth for your customer. Therefore, the thing that you're selling them needs to have more perceived value than the check that they're writing, than the wire that they're sending, than the cash that they're giving you, right? So if your thing's $100, the payoff for them needs to be more valuable than $100 to that person. So you got to communicate that, and you need to make sure that that's in your offer. And I think a lot of that's communication, not so much that your thing isn't good enough. It's just how do you communicate that payoff to them. And that's pretty much it. We already covered the last point, which was you just want to make sure that once you have your dream customer, that every page, every piece of content, every video, every piece of copy, every newsletter that you send out, it has them in mind. And I think that should really help you guys immensely in terms of being able to start your company with a good foundation. Hope this helps.